Hi, welcome back to day 11 of A Lawyer's Insights from Federal Prison. Today, I want to talk about those moments when my kids came and visited me. Um, it's hard to talk about because obviously I've gone through a lot of remorse and redemption through my work, but recounting when and how it was when my kids visited me never gets easy. I think that as parents, we are all the apple. We're like the hero to our kids' eyes, right? And um, when I was in downtown Miami, they came twice, and that visitation was really hard because I wasn't allowed to hug them. Uh, the visitation tables were like stuck to the ground and the chairs, and it was not, they weren't even allowed to sit on my lap. And remember, they were like 9 and 10, so very young, and they were scared. I had just left. Eventually, when I got to Coleman, the visitation was significantly different. The chairs were movable. there was a there was a room where there was like vending machines, so sodas and food items. I remember I always wanted the Chobani Flip yogurt and a Diet Coke. That was like my uh, celebration when they were visiting, or treat, I guess you could say. The There was also a room where there were lots of board games, and so our routine was we would the kids would go in and pick out a board game, and our usual game ended up being apples to apples, which I had never played before, but it became the game that we played every time they came. And we were allowed to also go outside if we didn't want to be inside the visitation room. There was a little outside area as well, and so we would go outside if there was space and sit, and my parents and my kids and I would sit, and we would play apples to apples and talk, and I would hear about Maya's soccer or school, or Kyler's football and what was going on at school. Kyler was applying for middle school, so we were also talking about that. The the hardest part I remember was the first time they came to Coleman, which was the first time my dad was visiting me. And I remember he walked in to the room, and from the moment that they arrived at Coleman, and I could see from the window of my housing unit, I'd be watching out for them. From the moment they arrived till when I got to see them was sometimes an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, because they had to go through a process of being scanned and filling out paperwork. I had to go through a process eventually and strip search and all of that until I could go in and see them. And so the minute I remember first time I saw my dad, he was standing almost like in shock of, I can't believe my daughter's here, right? And I walked through the room that kind of separated out the inmates from the visitors. And as I walked through and I could see tears in his eyes, I, like ran up to him and hugged him and said, "Dad, I'm okay, I'm okay." So that was the moment with my dad that I remember the most. The next moment that I remember is the first time they came to visit me, the kids. When the guard's clock hit 3, Maya like grabbed me and pleaded, "Mommy, please don't go," because of course I had to go. And so those moments of visitation were so powerful because it reminded me that all I wanted to do was hug them and kiss them and play board games with them, and love on them, and listen to them. Nobody had cell phones, nobody had technology, right? We were just totally dialed in. And I think in our normal everyday lives, it's easy to forget the subtle, beautiful moments like that. One of my one of my friends who was on the outside emailed me at some point when I was in prison through my friend Becky, who was the liaison, and she noted, and she said, "Today I was sitting in my car driving back and forth the kids to their activities and to their sports, and there's traffic, and I was starting to complain, and then I remembered, and I thought, gosh, Rashmi, you would kill to be in this craziness of driving kids around and traffic." Right. So I just want to encourage everyone to appreciate the small moments, have gratitude for what we have, no matter how small, with our families, our friends, our kids, and really recognize and have that gratitude, because I found it in prison and I appreciate that in every moment. Thanks a lot.